Well, not at all. What has happened is that we've been growing quite a lot in the last years, and as the cycle matures, the growth rate is slightly slowing down. So we're expecting 2.6 GDP growth this year and 2.3 next year, still above the EU average, and the growth rates expected for most of our economic partners. So actually, we're expecting growth to remain robust this year and next year. The expectations are positive. And I would like to comment on an issue you said just before. Actually, we have not reduced the ambition in terms of reduction of the deficit, of the public deficit. This year, the expectation was to have 2.2%, but actually when we took office in June, we did an internal study and realized that we were going to be closer to 2.7%. So our ambition is to reduce the deficit between this year and next year by 0.9 points. So that's exactly the same ambition that was foreseen before, but from a more realistic starting point in 2018.
There's a lot of pressure coming from somewhere in the electorate, though, when you're talking about 22% increase in minimum wages. I mean, this is extraordinary double-digit figures that we're talking about. I know the unemployment rate has come down lower. So you're at about 20% back in 2016, early 2016, around below 15% now. So quite extraordinary change that you've had in the unemployment rate, but still at 15%. You'd question whether you're going to scare the life out of businesses by trying to push forward with a 22% jump in the minimum wage. Isn't it better to wait for that unemployment rate to lower even further from here?
What we have seen in the last years is that the real wage rate has gone down very significantly in Spain, and there is a significant problem of precariousness in the labor market. So lots of people are actually poor workers. They cannot meet the end of the month, they cannot pay their bills. So this increase of the minimum wage, which is not affecting the whole labor market, obviously, it's just a part of the labor market, was an ambition that the people have been putting forward for a long time. So the issue is whether to do it in 1 year or whether the increase should be faster or slower. But our expectation is that there shouldn't be a negative impact on the labor market in the short run, in particular thanks to the growth rate that we're having right now.
Minister, just on the credibility of the budget, I mean, given that the government position is so weak in terms of parliamentary seats, there is a chance that actually you just won't get the support you need to push the budget through.
Well, we're absolutely determined to get the budget through, and when we're talking about weakness in the parliament, I always say the same. I come from a very European background, and there are many countries where there are coalition governments and minority governments. So despite the fact that in Spain we're not used to this kind of political environment, the reality, the fact of the matter is that since we came to the government 4.5 months ago, almost 5 months ago now, which seems like a lifetime, frankly, we have been able to pass a significant amount of laws despite the minority number of seats in the parliament, because there was a number of things had been blocked by the previous government, but there was a large majority of votes in parliament, and also because a number of things were urgent and we wanted to get them through. Many of them, or some of them, are in the area of financial regulation. For instance, a number of directives had not been transposed into Spanish legislation, and now we're passing them through with a huge support in parliament.
What do you think of the Commission's attitude to Italy?
Well, I think that rules must be obeyed and must be applied the same to all countries. And insofar as Spain's concerned, we're absolutely determined to follow the Stability and Growth Pact rules. And we are committed to fiscal stability and to fiscal discipline. So I think that all countries should be following the same kind of rules. Of course, financial stability is undesirable, and I think everybody in the Eurozone and generally in Europe is interested in having as much stability, credibility and confidence as possible.
So it's reckless policymaking in Italy at the moment?
I couldn't possibly comment on another country's policies, frankly. I can only say that financial stability is good for everybody.
But they may give you some air cover, one assumes. I mean, however difficult the politics becomes in Spain, it's worse in Italy, so you'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't, I don't usually compare myself to any other country when I wake up in the morning. So I think that you have to judge each country by its performance. What I can say is that insofar as the Spanish government is concerned, we're determined to fiscal discipline, following the rules, respecting the European commitments, and reducing our deficit and debt as fast as possible. So that's all I can comment on.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.